We try our best to keep our photos and memorabilia organized, and sometimes we fail. Last week on the Lazy Scrapbooker's next big project, I hosted my 2-day National Scrapbook Day crop for 42 ladies. Then, after 7 weeks in a row of events, I took some me time for both rest and exercise, and unsuccessfully attempted a trick I hadn't done in over 30 years: high toss cartwheel. I'm not giving up. Then, while Nathaniel and Jeff were away, I took time to sit down and catch up on all the missing items from my already completed pages. That was time well spent. And now I'm almost halfway through the project. Hi, I'm Donna Guest, the Lazy Scrapbooker. Thanks for joining me for my next big project. We are going to plan, organize, and create a pair of albums to celebrate my son and husband's 15-day road trip, their baseball blowout. While Jeff and Nathaniel were away on a fishing trip, I kept busy. I had orders to unpack and sort. I mean, just look at this basement. And on Saturday, I was teaching a class indoors on what was one of the most beautiful Saturdays I had seen in a long time. But no worries, it's still a beautiful day to be out and about. I had a small class, so setup would be easy, but I was certainly missing my wonderful helper while he was away for the weekend. The small size of this class would be perfect. I was teaching the Springtime Soiree project playbook that I created for Creative Memories, all set up for my students to arrive. How can I be expected to stay in and scrapbook on a day like today? When it's this beautiful out, you just have to step away from the scrapbook or whatever you have to do indoors and get outside. There was time for work later that evening when I had a power layout class to teach on Zoom. I've got a little bit of an unusual setup in here. The ring lights on the treadmill. I've got 2 tables in this back room. My laptop is teetering on this little cabinet right in front of what appears to be Anakin Skywalker. But I had another super fun class on Zoom teaching the power layout method, and while I was doing that, I did a power layout for 15 more pages. Now I just need to make time to scrapbook them. So now I've got several tasks to do for work, so yet again, I'm making a big mess and just walking away. My office is the messiest room in this house, and that's including the basement that you've seen a little bit of here and there when there's just piles everywhere. Let me get that open closet out. Today's find on the floor, a little clipped together pile of memorabilia that was mine from the Boston leg of the trip where I joined Jeff and Nathaniel. It was on my floor. And some of it's kind of cute. I love to include sometimes like a restaurant receipt because you know what, in 10 or 20 years, it's pretty interesting to look back at that. And I think it adds a lot. Yeah, I've got some cute things there. Am I going to go back and put them in? I just might. I think I'm going to see if I can fit these on the pages that are already completed. My power layouts, honestly, are the most organized thing about me. I just finished these 2 pages. Well, they're a nice little background. Doing my Tuesday tip tonight on a Facebook Live. So fun. I was demonstrating the 52 project recipe book, and we did one from that. I'll show you what it looked like. Here is the original idea. And so the thing about project recipes, you can use them with any papers and any punches. Instead of doing a knockout punch, I did a chain punch. I let the ladies watching the live vote on it, and this is what they picked. So love it, very cute. And that's going to go with photos of day 8 on the trip where they're visiting the New England Air Museum. So this is an old collection called Planes from 5 years ago from Creative Memories. So this is just perfect. But it was absolute chaos. During what was a pretty good Tuesday tip on a Facebook Live, my lights were falling over. I knocked off my border maker system. The cartridge fell out, and in its place, instead of the cartridge, I picked it up, and it was one of these. It is a Nerf bullet. So that is from Nicholas there. He has this all over the house. And at the end, the lights actually turned off. They had just had enough. But I've almost got 2 pages done. As I was cleaning out a notebook tonight and preparing it for a meeting I had tomorrow to look at the location for my upcoming fall retreat, I pulled out the paperwork from a previous meeting I'd had last year, and I found this. It's the missing note card that Jeff wrote for his speech at his retirement party that he didn't need, but I wanted to keep for his scrapbook. And he didn't know where it was. Of course, because I had it and I had lost it. So this is a wonderful, wonderful find. And of course, it mentions the scrapbook. The next day, the guys and I drove to Helen, Georgia for the day to scout out the location for my first 4-day hotel retreat. Helen is a unique and beautiful little mountain town in northeast Georgia that's known for its Alpine Village style buildings. There's lots to do there and so much great food. And less than 2 hours away from Atlanta, it's the perfect location for my hotel retreat. We had a great day. The weather was gorgeous, and being a random Wednesday, there were no crowds. Jeff, always a thorough trip planner, as you've seen, came with a checklist for the day. After taking care of business, we could have fun. His final stop? Fred's Famous Peanuts, just outside of town, and just because of the name. We just spent over $50 at Fred's Famous Peanuts. At a minimum, I want to know more about this basketball goal. While I was trying to take a photo of our beautiful view at lunch, Jeff showed me this clever trick. He pressed his phone directly against the glass and it removed all the glare. How did I not know that? I, of course, unnecessarily proved that this would not work well on a windshield. After heading home, I would stay up late to work on the project. We had a fun day scouting out my new retreat location in Helen, Georgia, and it was a long day and I'm super tired. I really want to go to bed, but before I do, I want to do a couple of things for the album projects. And I say projects because I do mean 2 projects here, and I'll show you why. But I figured while I have my hair actually not in a big bun on the top of my head, I would film something. And if that's what it takes to motivate me to work on this, so be it. But the first thing I'm going to do is insert the wonderful index card I found with Jeff's speech notes from his retirement party. He didn't use them, but he hit all the points, and I'm going to put that into his retirement album. So here's the retirement album on my very messy craft table. And if you never saw this one, I did an episode 12 of my series, The Lazy Scrapbooker Under Pressure. I'll put the link to that in the description and try to throw that up at the top right-hand corner of this video. But I think the best place for this card, there's his note card for his last day of work. And I think the best place for this to go, his speech notes, are on the pages of his retirement party, but specifically the pages where he's speaking. So let's find that. Okay, right here. There we go. So it's got to be this page. Where am I going to fit that? This page is pretty well done. I'll bet I could move this over and maybe put this here. And if I cover a little bit of that up, it's okay. So let's do that. First, we're going to take this page protector off because you know what? The great thing about Creative Memories albums is you can adjust things anytime you need to. Sometimes it happens. You guys, I've been bouncing from event to event. My craft table is so messy. It just took me a moment to find my multi-tool because that's what we're going to have to use to do this. So I'm going to see what I use to attach this. Yes, good old repositionable. Good job. And so with the multi-tool, I can easily lift that up. Look at that. Now the only damage I see is it removes some color right there. So I don't want to move it over too far. It was like this. We're going to move it where hopefully I'll, let's see. I kind of want to cover that up, but we'll see. Maybe I do it like this. And we do that. That will cover up where the color of the paper was removed by the repositionable tape because that does happen. And then that. I like that. That's great. You know, I think it's fine. I think I did have these maybe kind of centered. It doesn't matter. I think this will be just wonderful. Do I want to move this up at all? I don't think I need to. I think this is fine. So let's once again use repositionable tape in case goodness knows what if I find something else that I need to add here. I'm kidding. There should be nothing else. But I thought this was a great keepsake and I wanted to include it. I love it. The missing piece. It's been missing for a year and I didn't know where it was and Jeff didn't know where it was. And I, of course, was the one who lost it. And everyone's favorite task, I'm being sarcastic, is putting on page protectors. I actually love it because it just shows that you finished something. Or in this case, you have redone something and you're finished once again. Perfect. Makes me feel great. Okay, next I have this little stack of memorabilia that I found on my desk, I think. I am very messy. My scrapbooks and my power layouts are very organized, but my desk is a mess, and I've got to do better at that, but that's a life goal there. So let's see what we have here, and let's see where we can fit it in. Okay, we've got a cute little sticker from Cheers. It's basically where everybody knows your name, and I guess it's a name tag. Then we have our receipt from the Boston Sale-Off, which I like to include things like that. It's fun to see what you paid for a big dinner or a big lunch years later. There's a cute, nice little thick card from there. There's my plane ticket. I don't really think there's a place for that. And then this is Jeff's list that he made of possible activities to do in Boston. And I don't know if this is necessary. It's kind of cool. Okay, and these are the pages I've done for the Boston leg of the trip. This is the reason that even though I'm not halfway through the trip, I am halfway through the size of the album because this is a lot. But it was a cool city and we did a lot of things. So let's see. First, we need to go to Cheers. That was the first day we were there, so it should, there we go. All right, we've got a 2-page spread on Cheers, and here's what we have to add. A sticker. That's it. I can add a sticker to these pages. Okay, so there is really no strict, hard layout on these pages. I just got as much on the pages as I could. With a peekaboo pocket, I've got a napkin here, I've got a brochure here, and I've got the little beer mugs around. So you know what? I'm just going to add this in and just know that this is a scrapbook. The word scrap. There are scraps in here. All sorts of things. So I'm going to put this. It's going to attach to the napkin as well. Just right here. Is it necessary? No. But it's something we picked up there. So it just shows you every page doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Sometimes it's just a collection of all the cool stuff that you grabbed when you were somewhere. And that's okay. Okay, next we have these 2 items from the restaurant we went to on the second day of that trip. So it should be over here. Look at all these completed pages. And here we go. It's just a 2-page spread. There's no more room. There is no more room at all. I've put everything I can here. And I do like it. Oh, I love that picture right there. That is just gorgeous. So remember that extra real estate that I had? And I said, oh, let me put something there. And I put the cute little anchors. Well, maybe I could have used that for this, but maybe not. Ooh, that would have been perfect right there. And honestly, it still is. That anchor is going to have to go or get covered up, and we're going to put that card right there. That looks really nice. So let's do that. I don't know if we're going to salvage this anchor or not. Put them right there. And this is a pretty heavy card. I'm actually going to use regular tape runner to attach it. It's cute on the back, but I'm covering that up. But you know what? This makes a great title for these pages because as you notice, I don't have a title. I mention it here. But that's perfect. I love when memorabilia kind of works as the title there. Now, what do we do with the receipt to show the ridiculous amount we spent on this lunch? Maybe a peekaboo pocket somewhere under here. I don't know. It's got to be a 4x6. I don't know. I've said it before and I will say it again. I should not be allowed to use regular tape runner because I move things around too much. And here I go. I've done this. And oh, that just pains me to see that, to rip that paper. So what I'm thinking is that I'll I don't know. How important is this? You know what? I love the history of looking back and seeing, you know, what you bought 20 years ago. You know what? These pages are done. How important really is this? Here's what I think of it. I'm throwing it away. I'm throwing it away. And I'm putting this, here I go, using regular tape runner, but oh well. I am putting this back on here where it was. And I was going to use this peekaboo pocket. I will put that away. So sorry, Paige. Sorry I did that to you. But I will take this anchor and I'll put it over here with this. No, I'll put it over here. That was too crowded. Now that one's tilting that way. I want this one to tilt the other way. Oh my gosh. Can I just finish this page? My goodness. Okay. Now that ought to do it. And I'm not going to dig that receipt out of the garbage because it is destroyed. Let's just get this page protector on. That actually had to be painful to watch, I bet. put way too much thought into that. A receipt. The next piece I have is my boarding pass, which I don't really think I need because here's day 4 and it goes right into traveling around. There's no room for this. We'll just throw that away. It's okay to throw away some memorabilia if it's not that important. And then this right here, well, you know what? I'm just going to hang on to that with my outline and other papers like that for now. Okay, so I've updated Boston with the memorabilia I left out. Just a couple of little things. That's done. And now I think I'll call it a night and hopefully get some stuff done on this project tomorrow. Well, I didn't. I had a ton of other work to do, so the project took a back seat. While my power layouts and albums and file mates and all that goes with it are so organized, it's that one thing. It's the chronic disorganization of my office that caused me to lose memorabilia. Memorabilia from 2 albums. Those items from the Boston trip should have been organized beautifully in the file mate along with everything else. So that's on me. And for the index card for Jeff's retirement, I'm just grateful I found it. That's such a sweet keepsake that I wanted. Now, was losing that Boston memorabilia for several months the worst thing in the world? Of course not. Those pieces of memorabilia from Boston weren't that important, to be honest, but it did provide me a great example to walk through to show what to do when that happens. But if that had been more important memorabilia, you can totally see how that could create a big problem. And if it had been more important memorabilia, I would have worked a little harder to fit it in. I mean, you can always add an extra page in, a pocket page, peekaboo pockets, them not being the right size for what I was working on. If it had been more important, I would have made it work. But for that memorabilia, it just wasn't worth it to me. I need a vacation. And the timing couldn't be more perfect. The Creative Memories incentive trip for this year that I worked so hard for to earn is happening starting next week. So I can't wait. I'm almost ready to start packing. And since I'll be on vacation, I'm going to take a week off from the series. So the next episode is going to be in 2 weeks. Thanks so much for joining me on yet another big project. We're almost to the halfway point on this one. I look forward to when I get back to really diving in to some more of these pages. See you in May. I'd better get this project put away somewhere safe while I'm gone.